Best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Hello and welcome to the Frontier Motor Show. This is Iven Streckel, and we have been doing this Frontier Motor Show, car show, for the last 27 years, going on 28 years. And for the next half an hour, we're going to be talking about a little bit what's going on in the car industry, but also more importantly, what's going on at Frontier Motors. Now, you might not be in the market for a car, but that doesn't mean you should change that channel, because you never know. I think when I moved to Pensacola 28 years ago, it was the red light running capital of the world. Everybody here seems to be, they don't know what a yellow is, and they certainly don't know what a red is. And that's why in Gulf Breeze, they take pictures of you when you run your red light and you get a ticket in the mail. Now, what that means when you're running that light, that a lot of people get broadsided, and they don't expect to get broadsided when they get up in the morning. And it seems to be a common thing around here, because we have a lot of customers coming in and say, I needed a car, I watched your show, I didn't think I was going to need a car, but somebody just hit my car and now it's totaled, or I don't want it anymore because it was so wrecked. Even though the insurance company fixed it, they didn't total it. I don't want it anymore. I want to get rid of that car. So they end up being forced into the market. So you never know when you need a car. Also, you know, they just announced, as you all know, that this might be a pretty bad hurricane season. And you know what happens in hurricane season? A lot of cars get damaged, they get totaled, they get flooded. And our sales always go up during hurricane season if we have a hurricane. Of course, I'm hoping that doesn't happen, because it affects myself also, so I don't want to have better business and ask for a hurricane. Of course not. I would rather be safe and just have you buy a car when you need one. A lot of people are keeping their cars longer and longer. When I got in the car business in 1975, as far as selling cars, the average age of a car on the road was 7 years. Right now, the average age of a car on the road is 12.6 years. That's pretty darn old. So that means if you got a car out there that's 12 and a half years old, it might be time to change it before something major goes wrong. When the engine's still running good, we're going to give you a decent trade-in, because we don't know when it's going to stop. You don't know when you're going to die, and you never know when your car is going to die. So we would want you to come in way before then. I always try to have my customers come in when the warranty runs out, trade as often as possible, maybe a little bit before the warranty runs out, so you can offer that to the next owner. Now, at Frontier Motors, we are an independent dealer, so we don't sell brand new cars, but we do sell cars that are like brand new. Just about the alternative to new. So it's not unusual to have a 2024 model on the lot, a 23, a 22, a 21 that's still under factory warranty with very low miles. And then we give you that price of what the depreciation is. And what we like to do is give you an out-the-door price, which means that it's going to include the taxes. If you have a trade-in, we can itemize it. Here's what our car is. Here's what we can discount it to. Here's what your trade-in is worth. Here's what the taxes are, the dock fee, the transfer fee, the title fee. And here is what you've got to come up with, whether you go to your bank, whether you finance it through us, or whether you write a check. And once you have that figure, it's so much easier to compare apples to apples. So when you go to the dealer down the road, you can ask them what their out-the-door price is. And if ours happens to be $19,500 with everything included, and theirs is $22,000, well, it's kind of a no-brainer if you're comparing apples to apples. The other thing we can do for you also, if you're buying a used car, is we can run the original new car window sticker. Now, why would that be important? Well, because a lot of cars have so much equipment on there, you never even know what's underneath the skin of the car. You can obviously see if it's got leather interior, if it's got a sunroof, if it's got 22-inch wheels, if it's got electric running boards. You can see that, but there's some things that you can't see. Sometimes you can't see what size motor it has, what size axle ratio it has, if it has if it's got positive traction, a differential, if it's a pickup truck, if it's all-wheel drive. Some of these things you can't see. Well, the original window sticker is going to show me that. It's also going to show me some of the equipment, other things that you can see, some of the safety features. If it's got a backup camera, if it's got blind spot, if it's got automatic braking, if it's got laser automatic cruise control. These are things that enhance the value of a car that you don't know if our car has it if we don't go through it for you. So if we have a car on the lot, if we don't have the window sticker for it already in the glove box, we can run that window sticker for you. So that way you know that if our car is the same price, let's say you found a car down the road and our car is the same price price as the one down the road. We'd love to save you money, but let's say we're not saving you any money. It's the same price. But our car has $3,000 more equipment on it, especially if it's equipment that you can use, then ours, of course, would be the better deal. There's a lot of times that I have had people buy from us just because of the equipment alone. So when we purchase the cars, we try to buy the most equipped car possible for the least amount of money. And the rule of thumb is normally 25%, which means that if the car's got $10,000 more equipment on it, we would pay $2,500 more for that car. That's the rule of thumb. The same thing with aftermarket products. If you have a pickup truck on it and you spend $10,000 on aftermarket, you're normally going to get about 25% of that back. So think about that before you put things on your vehicle. Think about that, you Wrangler people. I know how you Wrangler people are. You're like Harley Davidson people. Every time you turn around, you put another piece of chrome or another doodad on that Wrangler, and people come into me, well, I got $15,000 worth of extras. Well, you're not going to you'll get more money for that vehicle, especially if it looks really nice, because obviously if it's jacked up, it's got the big wheel tires, we're going to pay you more money, but only 25%. And that's one of the things that's good when you buy a used car from Frontier Motors, is that you don't pay 100% for all that equipment, which you will when you go to the new car dealership. New car dealers these days have aftermarket counters where when you're done buying the car, they take you over to the aftermarket counter. Now you look at the wheels, you look at the tinted glass, you look at the safety etching, for if the car gets stolen. You look at all the aftermarket accessories, and that's a money profit center for them. And of course, at Frontier Motors, when you buy that car already with that stuff on it, you're going to get that at a much greater reduced price. We consider ourselves the home of free advice. Folks, if you're going to sell your car by yourself, if you're going to buy a new car, if you're going to buy a used car, call us up. What kind of questions would you have? Well, one of the questions you might have is, what's my car worth? I'm thinking about buying a brand new car over in Mobile. I want to buy a brand new Jaguar. Okay, well, come to us and we can tell you what we appraise the car for. If you're going to buy a Lexus over at Mobile, I'm a Lexus fan. Matter of fact, I have my own Lexus. I have a Lexus convertible that I purchased. And what I did is I bought it used with 1,000 miles on it because I saved about $10,000 over the price of a brand new one. I didn't have a trade-in, but if I did, we would tell you what that trade-in's worth. And then we would tell you what a good deal would be on a used one and what the out-the-door figure would be. And some people will buy a brand new one because they can afford it. They don't care. A lot of people, 90% of the people, are going to say, well, show me how much you can save me on a one-year-old car, maybe even two-year-old car if it's got very low miles on it. And if we save you on a two-year-old car, if we save you $20,000, wouldn't that be enough to get you to open your eyes and say, hey, for $20,000, car's still under warranty? I'll take a chance on it. So the free advice would also be, what is my car worth? What is the history on my car? In other words, let's say you bought your car used. I've had this happen before where people come in and trade the car, and one of the questions we ask them, has your car ever been in a major accident? They say no. And then we run the Carfax report, which looks like this, and we see a major accident. And they say, oh, my dealer didn't tell me that it's been in a major. Did you know that the dealer does not have to tell you if the car's been in an accident? The dealer only has to tell you if it's gray market. Gray market is salvage title, a junk title, a rebuild title, a fire damaged vehicle, a flood damaged vehicle, or a lemon law buyback. They must disclose that. A matter of fact, it's disclosed on the title, and of course you get to view the title if you want to before it gets put in your name. So that's what they have to tell you. A dealer, by the way, doesn't have to tell you if it's been in a minor, a moderate, or a major accident. Now, so you should ask. Every one of our cars at Frontier Motors has the history report in the glove box. That's going to tell you where the car came from, how old it is, what the warranty is left on the car, what maintenance has been done on the car. This particular one happened to be a Corvette I have in my folder, and all the maintenance has been done on this car. It'll tell you when the new tires were put on. It'll tell you when the brakes were put on. Every one of our cars that we appraise, we don't buy every car that we appraise, but every one that we appraise, we run immediately. We ask for the ID number, and we run a history report. Now, we can give you a buy bid on your car without the ID number, but it'll still be subject to us running the ID number to make sure it's got a clean history report. We also give, I have to say this on every time we do this show, I have to tell you that we also do diminished values. And diminished value means if somebody runs into you, we're going to tell you how much your vehicle's value has been compromised. And we'll put this in writing so the other person that hit you, their insurance should pay extra for that, because if you trade the car in, you're going to get less money for a moderate or major accident. Now, if it's minor, don't bother calling us. I don't care if a minor accident's been put on a car, as long as the paint matches. Maybe you had your bumper painted, maybe you backed into the garage or something like that. I consider that minor, and that's not going to affect the value of your car. But everything else that's moderate and major will affect the value. And I will give you, at Frontier Motors, they will give you a free diminished letter so you can get some extra money out of that, because you're going to be mad when it gets reappraised later on and you get less money for it. We will give you a buy bid on your car within 15 minutes. So if you want to sell your car, I'm going to tell you right now, in 15 minutes, we'll tell you, here's what we'll write you a check for. The only time we won't do that if the car's got, let's say it's got over 100,000 miles on it, we're going to have a technician look at it before we give you the buy bid. But anything other than that, we're going to give you a buy bid within 15 minutes. Doing business Frontier Motors, you're going to love coming in here. Our cars are unlocked every day. It's almost like going to a car show. When you're an independent dealer like we are, and you have over 200 cars in inventory, and you're not sure what you want, you really want to go to independent instead of a new car dealership. Because if you're going to look at a Chevy and a Ford and a GMC and a Toyota and a Nissan, that's 5 different dealers you got to go to. You got to meet 5 different salesmen. You got to give them all your name and email and all that, and they're all going to be hounding you to buy a car. At Frontier Motors, you can look at every one of those cars and talk to one person. And you can drive every one of those cars, and you'll be surprised on how many cars that we have on the lot that are like brand new. And because we're not a franchise dealer, we don't specialize in everything. We have the Toyota, we have the Jaguar, we have the Land Rover on the lot. We also have the Ford, we have the imports. You know, if it's Infiniti, if it's a Lexus, we've got them all on the lot, and we don't discriminate. You can buy whatever you want. Now, we can give you information. We can give you information if you ask us, like, which car has got better reliability. We have all the consumer reports. I am a junkie for consumer reports, so I keep them all. And here's one, for example, is owner satisfaction by brand. It's really, and to me, owner satisfaction is kind of important. That means, did you like the one you bought, and would you buy it again? And did you know that this is the weirdest thing? You know, I'm not an electric car kind of guy, but the number one car that's on here that people would buy again is a Rivian. Do you know what a Rivian is? A Rivian is a pickup truck / SUV that they came out with about 2 years ago. It's completely electric. 86% of the people that bought a Rivian would be another one. So they're obviously happy, which is kind of weird that they're happy with their electric car, because I always think about when you run out, you know, you talk about hurricane season with an electric car. Don't you get a little nervous? You're living on the beach, they tell you evacuate, you're down to 25% on your car, it takes overnight to charge it, and they tell you to get out. Now you're on the road with 25% juice in your car, and you run out. Now what do? Do you get it towed? Do you get somebody to come out with a generator and charge your car up? Mini Cooper was number 2. About 10 years ago, Mini Cooper wasn't a very good car. 77%, number 2 in the nation, of people that bought Mini Coopers said they'd buy another one. Isn't that's kind of, they've made a big turnaround. And here's a shocker to me. When we started this dealership 27 years ago, I wouldn't buy a used BMW. I wouldn't buy a used Audi. I wouldn't buy a Jaguar. Well, guess what? Number 3 is BMW. They've made a big turnaround, and obviously if you have a car that's unreliable, which it was back then, why would people buy it again? They love their BMWs, and 76% of the people. Porsche was the same way. Years ago, Porsche wasn't a good car, not because it wasn't a hot rod. It was fun to drive. It cornered on the diamond. It was just a really cool car. They still are, but they were very unreliable. Major oil leaks, major engine problems. Well, guess what? Not anymore. 76% of the people said they would buy another one. Tesla, again, electric car, 74%. Even though Tesla does not have a good rating as far as fit and finish and reliability, according to Consumer Reports, people love their Teslas. They would buy another one. Genesis, my wife drives a Genesis, 73% of, that's number 8, number 6 would buy one. Lexus, my favorite car, is number 7. People would buy another Lexus. So owner satisfaction, again, Consumer Reports, big important thing. I look at Consumer Reports because I really like looking at reliability. To me, reliability and safety is probably the most important thing. It's so interesting how a lot of people do not put a lot of emphasis on safety. I do. When I buy a car, I want to make sure it's got the latest, greatest safety features, because that's what's going to save your life. And 10 years ago, they compared cars from 10 years ago. I've got a Consumer Reports. They looked at a Toyota RAV4 from 10 years ago to now. You should see the upgrades. And Toyota was recommended, the RAV4 was recommended 10 years ago, according to Consumer Reports. But the safety rating 10 years ago was poor, now it's good. 10 years ago, they did not have automatic crash notification. When you got into a crash, it would actually, with subscription, they would call and say, hey, this car's been in a crash. Automatic emergency braking, very, very important. My car and all the newer cars these days, not all of them because it's still an option on some cars, when a car in front of you slams on the brakes and you're not paying attention because you're on the phone, you're going to get in an accident. Well, now the car that you buy stops automatically. More and more cars had that standard. On a Toyota RAV4, it's standard. Toyota RAV4 has pedestrian detection. If somebody's behind you in the car, somebody in front of you, especially at night, your car is going to stop automatically if somebody walks by you or drives by you. And then rear occupant alert. When you talk about somebody sitting in the back seat, you forgot your baby in the back seat, well, it's going to tell you. Back then that wasn't available. It's available now. When we talk about how the brands stack up, Consumer Reports comes out with, once a year, they come out with the brand. That is the most important thing they come out with. Instead of reliability, owner satisfaction, safety, they combine it all and they come out with the best brand. That includes roadability, which is drivability. How does it drive? How quiet is it? Things like that. Then the safety features. How fast does it stop? It's good safety rating. Owner satisfaction, very important. And of course, number one in my book is reliability. Down the road, 10 years down the road, is the car reliable? Last year, the number one brand was my brand that I love to sell at Frontier Motors, which is a Lexus. And the reason I love to sell them, I don't have any complaints. People that buy a Lexus from Frontier Motors will come back later on, and guess what they want again? They want another Lexus because they're so reliable. Number two, this has been like this since back when I got in the car business in 75, Toyota. People that buy a Toyota, they have hiccups every now and then. Every once in a while they have one that's got a bad transmission. Remember, Honda used to be one of the best buys out there. Well, Honda, throughout the last decade, has had a lot of problems with transmissions and engines, things like that. Well, right now, matter of fact, Honda is number 5, which is not too bad. Number 3 is Mini Cooper. I just mentioned that before. Mini Cooper was not a good vehicle. A lot of engine problems in Mini Coopers about 12, 13 years ago. Now Mini Cooper all around is the number 3 best car out there. And Acura has made a big comeback. Acura had issues. Acura is number 4. Honda's number 5. Subaru, which 2 years ago was number 1, is number 6. Mazda, 2 years ago, it was number 2. Mazda is a great car, folks. If you are looking at a car that depreciates a lot, look at a Mazda. Now, why is that good? Because if you're buying it used, you want a car that depreciates a lot, but you want a good car. And Mazda fits that bill of being a very good car, great reliability, good warranty, bad depreciation. People don't know what a Mazda is. They don't even look at a Mazda, which means that they depreciate more than normal, which means I'm buying